Hakim is also here. Perfect. So let us start. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from Oizom. We are very delighted to have you join us here for the sales training. Before we start the sales training, a quick introduction. So my name is Jaina Mehta, and I am the Chief Business Officer here at Oizom. I lead the global business here at Oizom.
Hello, hello everyone. So myself Ash Patel. I work as partner relationship manager at Oizom and having a core territory focus as Asian countries. So good to see you.
Good to see you.
Perfect. So I think now that the introductions are done, let's get to it. The Oizom sales training is focused on a comprehensive journey about from the basic understanding of air quality to the importance of air quality monitoring, why Oizom systems are a good market fit, and what are the unique value propositions. And then we will also be focusing on a hardware demo, which will be conducted by Arsh, followed by the Envisome data and visualization and analytics platform, which means they will give us a demo of the Envisome platform and the software. And after that, we shall also be taking up the calibration processes because we would want our partners to see and understand and realize how how much when we claim about accuracy, how much efforts goes behind getting the most accurate data. So we'll go through this entire sales presentation. Meanwhile, at the end of the presentation, we'll have a slot for questions and answers. So if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to put them in the chat box and we'll be answering them all at the end of the sessions. Meanwhile, we are also planning that, a lot of times we get these questions from a lot of our partners saying that they would like to understand what are the ideal use cases, what are some of the places that they could reach out to, what are some new potential business avenues that they can target using the Oizom product ecosystem. So we shall be sharing a use case list as well with you, which has a brief description about the use case and how Oizom products can be a fit there. And also, we shall be conducting another series of trainings on various use cases and applications. So without further ado, let's get started. So let's start with a brief introduction about the company. Oizom was founded in the year 2015, and it's a very interesting story because when we started, we were very keen that we wanted to make the world actually a better place and do something that's not just that's solving a problem, but when we went out to solve the problem of air quality, we realized that there was a huge data vacuum in the space of air quality and environmental data, and that is where the whole idea of Oizom was born. Today, after almost a decade, Oizom is laser focused in the space of offering smart air quality monitoring solutions. And using our accurate sensor based hardware, we monitor various environmental related to air quality, odor levels, noise, meteorological parameters, weather, radiation, etc. We currently operate in more than 60 countries across the globe with more than 3,000 deployments, and we follow the highest levels of standards and certifications that could be achieved, including ISO 9001 and 14,000 for all our facilities. All our products are CE FCC certified. All our electronics are RoHS and PTCRB compliant. For our friends from the Middle East, all our products also have the CESO certifications. And we are one of the very few companies that have been recognized by the US EPA. So earlier in 2023, the US EPA organized the National Air Quality Monitoring Conference and at their headquarters in North Carolina, where they invited some of the sensor-based monitoring companies from across the world. And of the 10 companies that were invited, Oizom was one of them, and in fact, the only company from Asia to be a part of the US EPA's National Air Sensor Conference. Currently, we operate in 60 countries, as you can see, everywhere from down south in New Zealand to the chilly winters up in Canada to pretty much from Argentina to Philippines to Indonesia to Europe. I can see we have, I think Europe is one place where we have a very strong network, as it's very evident. We've done more than 65 plus global cities using Oizom's data and systems for their air quality monitoring network. And with that, we monitor the environmental health of more than 200 million people worldwide. So let's take a step back into history, where it started from and where we stand today. So Oizom got incorporated in the year of 2015. In the first year itself, we had more than 10 customers who had adopted the Oizom's air monitoring technology. We went global and scaled to a global scale in the year 2017, where we had our first installations in the UK and France. 2018 was the year when the smart city ecosystem was really kicking in. And in a single year, we were able to accomplish 8 smart city projects and with more than 25 other projects. By 2019, we had expanded our horizon and reached to 25 different countries across the world. 2020, which was, I think, one of the most difficult year for all of us across the globe, the world came to a standstill. However, we decided to look in and develop further and see how we could expand our network and what are the things that we could improve. And in a year, we moved from 25 countries to 40 countries, and it has been increasing ever since. By 2021, we had reached to 50 countries with more than 1,000 deployments. And as you must have noticed with, with the multiple interactions that you've had with your account managers and team members, we have our partners all across the world. And the reason why we emphasize on the word partner so much is because we do not believe in the idea of box shifters where someone would buy a station from Oizom and send it across to the customer. Rather, we want partners who would encourage us to work harder, work more, and also improve the existing product stack. If there's something which is much more promising, work in that direction as well. And the results of that yielded as AQBot. So AQBot is a single parameter product that we launched in the year 2022. The reason why I love AQBot so much personally is because it was built out of the feedback of our partners and the suggestions of our partners, and it has not disappointed us. AQBot we sold more than 100 units from just in the first quarter that we launched it. So we have seen a tremendous response to AQBot, and this would not have been possible had it not been the feedback and ideas from our partners. So we would like to believe that our partners across the world work arm in hand with Oizom to create this global network of accurate air quality data across the world. Last year, we reached more than 70 partners with 2,500 plus deployments across the world. However, let's try to understand why did we start with air quality. So as I mentioned earlier, there is a huge data vacuum when it comes to air quality data, because the problem is pretty evident. Pollution kills more people than AIDS, TB, and malaria combined. I mean, in a country like India, you just lose 4 years of your life by staying in some very polluted cities. 9 out of 10 people in the world breathe polluted air. In fact, I think last week or the week prior, there was some news where the World Health Organization said that the number of countries that meet the air quality standards globally is 12. Out of 200 countries in the world, only 12 countries meet the World Health Organization's air quality standards. It means this problem is very big, and I'm sure a lot of people want to work around it. But when there is a data gap, you cannot do anything. The biggest way to solve a problem is the data. Data is the key to identifying the sources and taking the necessary steps and actions towards mitigating and solving the problem. And with this, we developed the Oizom hardware software ecosystem. What you see on your screen now is our multi-parameter monitoring station, which has the capabilities to monitor up to 30 various environmental parameters like dust levels, polluting gases, odorants, noise levels, radiation, and meteorological parameters. Through a range of wired and wireless communication protocols like GSM, Wi-Fi, LoRa, Sigfox, NB-IoT, or wired communication protocols like Ethernet, Modbus, we can send the data on real time to our data visualization and analytics platform, the Envisom, where you can generate actionable alerts, download insightful reports, create predictive analytics, Through our relay-based automation, you can do industrial automation as well. And in case the data needs to be dispersed to a mass audience, we have mobile app as well as LED displays, TVs, and web apps as well for data visualization. Air quality is not something new. In fact, before even air quality monitoring came into the picture, we've been doing air quality monitoring. The first story of how air quality monitors were done was using a very interesting idea, that was the canary birds. So in the early 90s, or 1960s and 70s rather, they used to have a canary bird which they would take, the miners would take them with them in the mines, and when the bird flapped its wings or became uncomfortable, they would realize that it's a serious challenge, and the miners would evacuate the mines. From there to having a compact station with more than 10 different monitoring parameters, we've come a long way when it comes to air quality monitoring systems. But let's look at what's happened in the past couple of decades. So the first generation are the ambient air quality monitoring systems that used to work on gravimetric and titration sampling. These are your large filters, where you would take a filter, take it to a laboratory, get the data, and monitor again. Now, this one was, of course, a very expensive process because you would need to set up a lab, a full-time resource, and of course, the power consumption was extremely high, which would be anywhere between 600 to 800 kilowatt per hour per year. And yet you don't get real-time data because the sampling was done once in every 8 hours. This was replaced by the analyzer-based instrumentation, which offered automated continuous monitoring. These are your large analyzer stations that you see from providers like Horiba, Envia, Ecotech all across. However, these are very, very, very bulky, probably the size of a small cabin. Plus, their power consumption is also significantly higher, which is somewhere between 4 to 5 megawatts per hour per year. And it's a very capex intensive investment. You could have to invest anywhere between $100,000 to $500,000 just to have a fully functioning analyzer based station. Plus, of course, the operation maintenance that follows it. And this is where in the last decade, we've seen a massive uprise of the sensor-based air quality monitoring. These are automated continuous monitoring, giving you real-time data. The power consumption is so negligible, which is 25 kilowatt per hour per year. So they can become solar compatible. And they are literally 1/10 of the cost of what your analyzer-based systems would cost you. And this is where Oizom has been trying to offer the most accurate sensor-based monitoring solutions out there with a wide range of parameters, including PM1, PM2.5, PM10, PM100, which is total suspended particulates, polluting gases like SOx, NOx, CO, ozone, carbon dioxide, methane levels, oxygen saturation, as well as odorful and toxic gases like hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, chlorine, formaldehydes, VOCs, mercaptans, and several more. We also do a lot of ambient parameters that come along with air quality monitoring, including solar radiation, noise levels, which is Lmin, Lmax, L90, L10, and LEQ, and meteorological parameters like wind speed, wind direction, light intensity, temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, etc. In fact, this year we are also planning to add vibration as a part of our product offering. So now Oizom systems are also compatible with vibration monitoring system setups, which becomes an ideal use case for applications like construction monitoring. So most of our sensor-based systems for gases work on the principles of electrochemical sensing. Electrochemical sensing is basically a electrochemical cell sensor where it reacts with the ambient air whenever it passes through it. And these electronic signals are then converted into your ppm and ppb values. For dust, we use laser scattering monitoring, where the sensor emits a laser beam that diffracts through the air sample, and the scattering of the beam counts the particle size, distribution, and concentration. For critical gases like CO2, we use NDIR sensing, which is more on infrared radiation, to where different molecules absorb the infrared radiation at different frequencies, and based on that, a volumetric concentration can be derived. For volatile gases like TVOCs, we use photoionization detection, commonly known as PID sensors, which work on highly energized UV photons, and they identify the positively and negatively changed ions, and based on that, a volumetric concentration is identified. I'm going to take a minute here and show you a video, which is going to share more details on how the systems work, and we'll use this video when we talk about our sensing technologies as well. So just bear with me for a minute. I'll change the microphone so that you can hear the video as well.
Here is a state-of-the-art environmental monitoring solution by Oizom. It's a compact, ultra-low-powered system which can work fully on solar power. It works continuously and sends various environmental data related to air pollution, odor, weather, noise, and radiation. Its patent-pending e-breathing technology makes it highly accurate compared to industry standards. It can do complete gas analysis by monitoring pollutants like carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfides, ozone, ammonia, hydrocarbons, and many more. It counts every single particle present in the air sample using a highly accurate laser beam. It is capable of monitoring particulates of various sizes, ranging from 1 micron to 100 microns. A downward-facing Class 1 noise sensor is ideally positioned to capture environmental noise up to 140 decibels from various sources. As you can observe, the top-mounted pyranometer does solar radiation analysis by diffracting the light rays into UV, IR, and visible light spectrums. Most of the pollutants are invisible, but through systematic data collection, they can be made visible. Oizom is committed to decipher hyperlocal environmental data and redefine natural resources, which are highly essential for our existence on Earth.
So the video's main idea was to show you how the system works from the inside. Of course, you must have noticed we've changed the enclosure compared to the previous enclosure for various developments and better and higher accuracy. But moving forward, data accuracy is the word that I probably have said the highest during this call, but that is what we truly stand for. Oizom stands for three words. That's accuracy, reliability, and responsibility. That's what we aim as our, what we stand for. So we've been able to achieve a higher level of accuracy compared to most of the other providers, sensor-based system providers out there, for three major reasons. The first is our patented technology. Our patented e-breathing technology is, in very simple layman terms, the biomimicry of a human lung function, where we take a fixed sample of air, it passes through a gas chamber, and then it is exerted out. This ensures that external factors like your wind speed, temperature, humidity levels do not affect the quality of the data, hence giving you much more accurate data. This is a patent which is granted in the India, EU, and the US regions. Another very interesting challenge with most of the electrochemical cells is that because when they're installed in urban applications, there is a lot of electromagnetic interference that's out there. In order to stop that and mitigate that challenge, we've developed our own OGS, which is the Oizom gas sensor module. I don't know if you can see my video here, but this is how an OGS looks like. So this sensor has been built in a manner that the enclosure ensures that it nullifies or at least reduces the impact of electromagnetic interference, hence giving you much more accurate data. And then the third level of accuracy is achieved through our extensive calibration processes, for which we shall be discussing as we proceed further. In addition to all of this, we have 3 design registrations and 12 trademarks. So the product is sturdy and built for ambient applications. Some of the key salient features of the products include real-time data transfer, 100% weatherproof IP66 certified. It has an internal memory backup of up to 6 months. Our systems are solar compatible, and if you have enough sunshine, the systems can run on solar power as well. There is more than 8 ways of data communication. There is a battery backup that can last up to 12 hours, and it is even tamper proof. I'd like to take a pause here and discuss a very interesting story when it comes to tamper proof. So we had this project that we did years ago in Australia, where one of the requirements of the project was that the system has to be monkey proof. And I was very surprised at what exactly is monkey proof. We thought it's some kind of certification, some kind of standards that we didn't know. So when I talked during the pre-bid meeting with the customer, he told me, no, Jainam, it is literally what it means. We have a huge problem of baboons here in Australia, and the systems have to be sturdy enough for baboons, in case they try to act cheeky and, mess around with the units. So these systems have withstood everything from extreme deserts to extremely cold temperatures as low as -40 to even baboons jumping on top of it. So it's truly a robust and a tamper-proof unit. With that, we cater to a wide range of sectors and use cases. When we've tried to categorize them under four major umbrellas, which is urban infrastructure, odor monitoring, industrial monitoring, and air quality research. Urban infrastructure pretty much includes everything from smart cities to campuses, schools and universities, construction applications, roadside monitoring, monitoring at your airports, highways, seaports, tunnels, railways and roadways, as well as public hotspot monitoring. Odor is another major challenge. Odor nuisance can create a living hell out of our lives. For that, we do odor monitoring at landfill sites, wastewater treatment plants, livestock monitoring for poultry, dairy, and pig farms, as well as industrial odor monitoring. However, industrial air quality monitoring is an independent and a much larger sector that we focus on, where we can do monitoring for mining and quarrying sites, which is one of the biggest applications that we work with, industrial fence line monitoring, employee health and safety as per the OSHA standards, as well as environmental automation using the AQBot for various processes in the industries. In addition to that, we have a dedicated team within Oizom's organization called the Oizom Initiatives team. The Oizom Initiatives team focuses on air quality research projects. So in case in your local city or in your, you would want to do a research project with the EPA or uh, some of the well-recognized academic institutions or faculties, we would be happy to organize that as well. We have a dedicated support team which focuses on air quality research, where we collaborate with universities and EPAs for co-location calibration, co-location testing, final year projects and theses, and publishing of journals and white papers along with university students who want to excel in the air quality monitoring space. Because in addition to everything that we do for commercial space, I think it's very crucial that we train the next generation to be more aware and considerate about air quality as a domain and something that they really need to focus upon. I'd like to quote a very interesting line here that I heard, is that, if I'm not wrong, I think it was the previous president, Mr. Barack Obama, who said this, that we are the first generation to feel the impact of climate change and the last generation that can do something about it. So I think that is also a driving factor, in addition to all the commercial aspects that are there, that is something that we should really focus upon. Now I'd like you to take 30 seconds for you to just look at this image. This is any city, any major city across the world. And these are all the possible sources of pollutants that are out there. And these are all your potential customers that you can tap into. So just take a minute to understand, see what parameters, what various kinds of applications you can tap into using the Oizom ecosystem. So as you can see, pretty much all kinds of applications. There are some challenges, and then we really need to identify what is causing a problem and how do we solve it. Uh, for our friends from India, I think you know about back in 2017, we had this huge problem in Delhi with the pollution, and they decided to implement the odd and even rule, where you could only take odd numbered car plates on odd days, and then even numbered car plates on even days of the week, right? And when we did a extensive research by deploying 65 stations across Delhi, that is when we were able to identify that the problem was not vehicular pollution, but it was the stubble burning that has been happening around the city, that's been causing such a havoc and creating really bad air pollution for the city of Delhi. So it is very important, and this is just a proof that you really need accurate air quality data. in order to identify the exact sources of problem and to solve and take the right actions rather than just implementing some infrastructure and policy level changes. This is a snapshot of some of the key projects that we've done across the world. Tunnel monitoring for a huge construction that's happening in the Norway. We deployed our dust monitoring systems. This was a part of employee health and safety at the Skanska Tunnel in Norway. Agra Smart City, the home of the Taj Mahal. We've deployed 39 stations with pollution monitoring along with rainfall across the city of Agra. And in fact, 6 stations have been deployed, in the periphery of the Taj Mahal itself. Saudi Aramco, which is one of the biggest oil and gas company, the only trillion-dollar company in the world, they've been deploying Oizom stations as a part of industrial fence line monitoring to take actions on what is the impact around the areas of their industry as well as their various applications. Another very interesting project that we did last year was monitoring odor for the city of Dubai. So UAE last year hosted the COP summit, and they were very keen on identifying the odor and solving the problem of odor. So that was done last year in the city of Dubai, where we deployed 25 monitoring stations along with other 55 stations in the city of Abu Dhabi as well. And the idea was to create a high resolution odor heat map and then take relevant actions to mitigate the challenges of odor. Now, one interesting story here, because I don't want it to be very serious and just presentation death by PowerPoint. So I'll keep on sharing interesting insights and stories that we get. So we've always had this funny interaction, that imagine if all the units could talk to each other. It would be so funny, because imagine there is one unit which is lying in like a 60-degree, extremely hot temperature in the middle of the desert. There is one which is probably freezing, somewhere in minus 40 degrees. But then at the same time, you have a unit that's installed at a very nice location like Agra, for instance, near the Taj Mahal, or in Dubai, where it's right next to the Burj Khalifa, or probably in Paris, right across the street from the Eiffel Tower. It would be so interesting if these units could talk to each other, because it would create such an interesting application. Given Oizom systems are a proof that we've been able to deploy it in all kinds of climatic conditions and tropical, non-tropical, as well as extremes like deserts and very cold and harsh conditions as well. So I think this is a very interesting factor that you always think about, that imagine if these things could talk, it would have a very interesting story to tell to all of us. So Oizom, let's talk a bit about the team, and then I'll hand over to Arsh to show us more about the products and how they work and get a bit more technical. But yes, so we have 4 co-founders, friends who turned into co-founders. We started the company. Ankit's the CEO. Rushank heads the operations here at Oizom, while Sohail is the tech guy. He's the go-to guy for everything in and around technology. Well, I'm the guy who looks at business overall. And funnily enough, out of a team of 60 people that we have here at Oizom, we are only 6 people who are non-engineers. So everyone pretty much here is an engineer, apart from the 6 of us. I'm the only guy in the business team who is a non-engineer. Otherwise, the rest of the finance and business guys are, the ones who have to learn finance. So apart from the finance team, everyone is pretty much an engineer. And that is why we're very keen on technology and making sure that we bring out the best solutions that are out there to create it. We've been able to work and integrate our solutions with some of the biggest providers out there. I'm sure you can see a lot of familiar names here. For example, Cisco. With Cisco, I think we have a very long relationship, and it's probably the only company with whom we've been able to work in all the continents of the world, where at least we've done one project with Cisco. All our systems are integrated into the large IoT data platforms like Nokia, HP. Our systems have also been integrated into various communication protocols like Sigfox, Tata Communications, GeoDigital, all of that. Similarly, our hardware integrations have been done for large smart lighting companies like Rambol and Flexol. We've also been able to do a lot of activities with mitigation companies like LEC out there. Here is a snapshot of some of the most privileged clientele that we work with. As you can see, a lot of familiar names here again. Afcon, Central Park, Dubai Municipality, HP, Cisco, Loda Builders, which is one of the biggest builders here in India. Mishere Properties, who own the Doha Smart City, so it's a private part, the Environmental Agency of Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And we also work with a lot of industrial customers, including Anglo American, which is one of the biggest mining companies in the world. Dangote Cement, again, a pioneer when it comes to the cement industry in Africa and Europe. GFL Environment, which is the key player for waste and sewage plants across North America. WSP Group, again, needs no introduction. WSP Group is the biggest environmental consultancy in the world. NG is a big thermal power plant company from France and Western Europe. Veolia, again, one of the world's leading waste management companies. Barrick Mines, Total Energies are some of the most reputed customers that we work with. All of this would not have been possible had we not continuously improved ourselves. And that is why I think a lot of credit of our accuracy, our extensively strong and robust systems goes to our knowledge partners. We've been able to do extensive collaborations with some of the most reputed universities across the world, including the University of Warwick in the UK, the University of Wuppertal in Germany, University de Granada in Spain, the Northwestern University in South Africa, Banaras Hindu University, which is now turned into an IIT, and it's one of the oldest educational institutes in the world, and several EPAs, as well as we've partnered with Horiba Process and Environment Division for testing and trial of our systems. All of these partners have played a pivotal role in helping us achieve the level of accuracy that we claim and that we've been able to achieve. So we believe that we would always want to work with such knowledge partners who can make us improve and create a better tomorrow. This is personally one of the most strongest slides that I believe is, because this is what my vision and roadmap is. We've been able to achieve, a partial part of it, and I know together with our partners we'll be able to create a closed loop system. So let me break it down for you. So imagine these are two different applications, urban and industrial. So the idea is that yes, there is pollution, we monitor it, we find the problem, but then what? So the idea is to create a closed loop system where you find a problem, identify its source, mitigate the problem, and then move it to the next step. So using the Oizom monitoring stations, we can gather the data, do the visualization and analytics. Our industrial systems can have through relay-based automation, can do automated decision making. So let's say, for example, if a specific parameter crosses a threshold limit, you would want it to trigger alerts and alarms. So that is also already capable. Similarly, if you want to automate any third-party equipment like a misting cannon system or a fogging cannon system or an industrial air purifier, you could actually automate the whole system, monitor the data again, and understand the benefit impact analysis. So that is very critical, because monitoring does not solve the problem. We help you diagnose the problem, but we've been able to create an autonomy and enable various kinds of automations that would solve these problems. When you look at this from a macro level, like a city, probably the challenges are more different. It's not as simple as turning on an air purifier. So through our advanced monitoring and visualization, we've been able to identify the sources and do prioritization. So like, for example, if you install it in the city of Paris and you realize that, okay, one of the biggest challenges for the city of Paris for high levels of pollution is vehicular emissions, you could actually take automated KPIs and different actions for the traffic department. And then it is on the teams to decide if they want to implement some infrastructure level changes or large policy level changes. So once you identify the exact sources, you could actually take actions. For example, do I just need to set up traffic light regulations, maybe create diversions at places where vehicular emissions is a big challenge, or maybe it needs an overbridge or an underbridge. And once that is done, you could actually measure the KPIs, understand its effects on the environment, and create a closed loop system. So I think this is very critical, that we are not just trying to help you, tell you that, okay, this is the data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but rather we would want it to look on a much larger scale where it can help you identify, okay, this is the problem, this could be the possible sources, and these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actions that you need to take in order to mitigate and solve the problem. With that being said, I think I'll see you at the end of this presentation when we talk about much more technical stuff on calibration and technique and its capabilities. Meanwhile, I would like to hand over the presentation to my colleague Arsh, who will speak in depth about the products, maybe show us a live demo of the hardware, and then hand it over to Deval, who can show us the Envisome data platform. So over to you, Arsh. Please take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Jainam, for the amazing start of the presentation. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah, I hope it's clearly visible well to everyone. So, so till now, what we understand is exactly what Oizom is and how we grow. But now in this section of the presentation, we are going to understand all the Oizom products and offerings in much more detail. So on the screen, you able to see Oizom product ecosystem, including all our flagship 6 products, which is ambient air pollution monitoring system Pollutron, then ambient odor analyzer Odosense, which is focused for applications such as landfill site monitoring or wastewater monitoring systems. Then Dustroid, which is an ambient dust monitor, along with WeatherCom, which is automatic weather station, and our single parameter industrial air quality monitor, that is AQBot. All of these products are connected to our Oizom IoT data platform, and where you can see data in different formats. You have data visualizations, you have data analytics, you have also environmental modeling and automation features. Talking about the core USP of the entire product lineup, separating AQBot is that the complete ecosystem of the product is customizable. So if you want gas monitoring parameters such as SOx, NOx, or let's say CO2 industrial, it's possible. Or if you want parameters, meteorological parameters like wind speed, direction, or rainfall as an add-on to Odosense, that's also possible. Talking about communication protocols and how the devices sends data to the IoT cloud platform, or let's say to your servers if you are integrating device directly to your facility. So the device is communication agnostic. Apart from GSM, Ethernet, and Wi-Fi, our device can also communicate using Modbus, LoRa, and IB-IoT protocols for industrial use. Talking about both wireless and wired communication, in wireless, we are offering 2G, 3G, 4G, LTE, as you can see on the screen, even Wi-Fi, LoRa, Sigfox, and NB-IoT. And in wire, we have relay, Modbus, CAN bus, and even Ethernet. So with this, let's focus on product one by one. So first, we have a Pollutron. So Pollutron has the capability of measuring particulate matters, that is PM10 and 2.5. Also, other parameters like CO, NO, NO2, SO2, and O3 are also measured. In addition to this, we also offer light intensity monitoring, the noise level monitoring in different noise levels, even the option of adding the weather parameters such as wind speed direction and rainfall monitoring. If we break down the variants of Pollutron, we have 3 variants in our offering currently. First is light, which is a basic version where PM1, 2.5, PM10, and PM100, along with temperature, humidity, pressure, noise, light, and UV are measured. And talking about gases, we have CO and CO2 in that. And it is recommended for general research purpose and city monitoring level. Now, talking about the smart version, which includes all the AQI measuring gases or all the AQI index gases, like ambient air quality monitoring, and is recommended for extensive purposes, like let's say city monitoring or smart campuses monitoring or any other spaces in cities like schools or let's say universities. Whereas pro version includes a parameter related to much more critical applications like H2S, and it is suggested to use for critical applications like industrial fence line or industrial monitoring. And of course, all the versions have an option of adding accessories to monitor the weather conditions. Now, here we have the applications of Polydrone, which will be like smart cities where we can monitor urban spaces or for use for public awareness, even for public health care prediction. Then industrial monitoring where for EHS for workers or for maintaining the rules and regulations. In smart cities, like for green campus monitoring or healthcare suggestions, and the roads and highways where dynamic speed limit can be also monitored and tracked and also used for keen applications such as accident prevention. Now, talking about the competition of Polydrone. So first, air quality monitors are mainly categorized into passive and active monitoring. Now, the passive monitors are susceptible to lower accuracy as they have sensors exposed to the ambient conditions and factors which affects like temperature, humidity, then wind speed direction, which results to affect the high data. And talking about the active monitors, on the other hand, suck in definite amount of air sample and eliminate all such external factors, which in due course makes the data much more reliable and much more accurate, talking with the other competitors of Polydrone. So in active monitors, Oizom holds an advantage over other players when it comes to offering a holistic solution, which includes weather parameters such as temperature, humidity, pressure, UV light, along with wind speed direction and rainfall, which is integrated to our air quality monitoring solution Polygon. And of course, the multiple ways of communication apart from GSM, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, connectivity. Oizom pollution monitors are also compatible for industrial communication such as Modbus to connect to the existing SCADA protocols or SCADA systems. And our solution is also compatible over solar and has a battery backup for 2 to 3 days, providing an edge over the existing active monitors. And the software has its own advantages for the analytical and forecasting of the data and its capabilities. So with this, we have our second product, which is an odor sense. So we all know that we seldom smell, we seldom bad odor everywhere in our surroundings and in our daily day-to-day life, but we fail to trace its source. So majorly we tend to ignore and then move on with our livelihoods. And in the process, we fail to understand the gravity of the situations. So with the concepts of identifying the odors, Oizom's odor monitoring solution helps us to track harmful gases, which are toxic and create an uncomfortable surroundings for each and every one of us. Nowadays, process improvements have also surfaced a novel application which quantify such odorful gases. And even in OdorSense, we have classified it on the basis of the applications. So with the light version, measuring gases such as ammonia and hydrogen sulfide is well suited for the applications. Let's talking about either wastewater treatment facilities or landfill sites, while also the solid waste is well equipped with smart version, which gives us methyl mercaptine or TVOCs, which is total organic compounds. And talking about Pro having much more extensive parameters such as formaldehyde or let's say nitrogen dioxide or chlorine, focusing the importance of monitoring the industrial odor. And I want to highlight here that in odor tracking, it is very important to monitor wind speed and direction, which will also be possible here as an additional by an add-on of Oizom wind speed direction sensor, helping us to enable to generate a complete heat map or let's say the source tracking of pollution from which the odor is coming in. Talking about the important sectors or applications where we can monitor odor sense is industries where health of workers and nearby residents are very important to monitor. Then landfill sites, which will help us for help to nearby residents, and we could trace the exact sources of odor and the gases or the toxic gases using the wind speed direction sensor as well here. And while livestock's a very broader and large application to track ammonia emissions, we all know that livestock are one of the most highly used case which or the application which emits the maximum ammonia, and also the dust monitoring in their existing storage facilities for cattle foods, or let's say about the fertilizers or the other material used for the cattle treatments. And the wastewater treatment facilities, every city have one, and H2S monitoring could be one of the most important use case, which also leads to the highly corrosion of the entire facility. And it's also important to monitor odor at wastewater treatment plants for EHS or the city standards. Now, talking about the competition of Oizom's Odosense, like Odosense, along with few other players in the market, are the only few to offer all the possible odor measuring parameters. So with Odosense, you can monitor up to 9 odor at a given time. And it also includes some of the critical application based on the parameters like, let's say, methyl mercaptine or having TVOCs, formaldehydes, and chlorine. In addition to this, we always have an add-on advantage of measuring the weather parameters like wind speed or let's say rainfall as an option, and that is available with solution for drawing a complete impact assessment with having with taking this as a much more advanced level of dispersion modeling. Also, unlike others, the software is equipped with special features like complaint management to assist concerned stakeholders. And here I would again want to highlight that wind speed direction also needs to consider as one of the most important factor to track and to have a complete impact assessment, which gives us a better understanding of overall pollution and the heat map in the vicinity, or let's say managing or tracking the source. Now, talking about our other product is the Dustroid. So we often see dust laden activities in our cities, either it's in a construction or having any kind of road infrastructure development, especially in country like India, or talking about the other eastern countries where dust is one of the most important and pertinent issue, and activities such as mining or construction or infrastructure building has spiked up the concentration of particles in air so much. And Oizom's ambient dust monitoring system here measures the concentration of dust particles. So we monitor all the 4 concentration of PM, like PM1, PM2.5, PM10, and PM100. And additionally with this, we also have, we for the areas having high humidity, we dehumidify the sample to nullify the effect of humidity on the measurement, which helps us for a better data accuracy. And recently, we also got an AMSAT certificate for our Dustroid, which is one of the most big achievement we had this year. So similarly, as all the products variants, we have 2 variants here of Dustroid. So on screen, you might be able to see Dustroid Smart and Pro. So in Smart, we offer temperature, humidity, along with 4 concentrations of PM, which is PM1, 2.5, 10, 100. And talking about the Pro, which is having a heated inlet facility where the areas having humidity more than 95% can dehumidify the sample and gets us a better data accuracy. Also, the addition of wind speed direction sensor and the meteorological sensors like noise monitoring, very crucial for monitoring in the applications such as construction or even, I would say, mining. And the device is also having the relay channel here. So talking about the application focused with Dustroid is construction, even mines and quarries. Like we are present in all of the major mine of the world, starting from North America to even with in some of the great mines or the large mines in South Africa, with big coal mining facility in India as well. Then seaports, because dust monitoring is very crucial for seaports while handling the storage and the container facility, even in public spaces for monitoring public hotspot or let's say the mass public gathering, the PM is always there, and it's a hidden, but it's very important to monitor the PM in public spaces as well. So talking about dust storage competition, today there are several options available for monitoring dust particles. However, a majority of them are highly priced. When we have managed to curb the prices of dust storage and keep in a quadrant of low prices with high accuracy. So most of the system fails when humidity in air is above 95. For this, we have a heated inlet versions in Pro available. Also, we have a parameters add-ons like wind speed direction, along with, let's say, noise monitoring. And the most important thing I want to highlight here is that the Dust Storage Smart also comes with a 12 hours of power backup. Another thing is that we provide two-way of relay channel. In fact, all of our offerings have relay, which enable complete new solution for mitigations with automation modules, which they will highlight more on the software demo. Now, here we have a weathercom. So the evident climate change has affected millions, and we'll continue to do unless we take necessary and time actions. So weather monitoring becomes a very crucial aspect to avoid any natural hazards or any natural calamities. And the simple solution, the plug and play weather monitoring station, Weathercom becomes an ideal choice for comprehensive meteorological monitoring. And also due to its robust build quality. So the hardware and the enclosure is complete IP68 with solar compatibility and of course the advanced analytic tools. So Weathercom is specially designed for various applications like meteorological data such as wind speed direction for, let's say, to use it on seaports to understand the speed of winds while loading and unloading of containers or loading and unloading of the goods, even on roads and highways for dynamic speed limits based on the weather conditions and predictions. Flora and fauna, very important to have an early detection of, let's say, forest fire, to have early detection of high winds in forest, even in smart cities for urban expansion and planning and for public awareness along with infrastructure development planning as well. So the Weathercom draws an edge over its competitors when it comes to providing solution for varied application. A lot of players in the market are limited to couple of applications with their solutions, whereas our Weathercom monitoring solution is not only effective in weather monitoring or for agriculture prediction, but it's loaded with ability to provide solutions for road safety as well, and also for disaster monitoring and prediction. Now, with this, I want to highlight and I want your quick attention for an AQBot. So AQBot is a single industrial grade parameter monitoring system. We recently launched AQBot in 2022 and we got a huge success in the market with this product. So AQBot is an industrial grade single air quality monitoring system, which is very compact and rugged in design, ideally for industrial application. And talking about some of the salient features of AQBot, we have a built-in display to see the data along with buzzer and alarm system. And we are also launching an 8x version soon this year of AQBot, which will completely open the new doors in zone 1 and zone 2 when we talk about the industries like oil and gas or the hazardous zone. With this, we currently having 14 variants of AQBot. So you can see the parameters on the screen like all types of gases, SO2, NO2, H2S, or let's say Cl2. Even we are offering for meteorological parameters like noise. Then talking about PM as well, you can monitor particulate matter in AQBot along with the temperature, humidity as well. And the application are pretty wide in terms of AQBot. Like it can be used for industrial fence line, for industrial monitoring, for EHS, for OSHA standards in industries, even used for environmental automation to have a mitigation solutions or to start any kind of misting cannon systems in industries where the gases are high in terms of starting gas neutralizers, or let's say for dust collectors or dust mitigators for reducing the particulate matter in the vicinity, even for wastewater treatment facilities where we can use the AQBot ammonia or let's say AQBot H2S, and automation of reduction of gases or the dosing of the chemical can also have a huge application or huge use case with AQBot and the software. So with this, we covered up all the product presentation. Just give me a minute. I'll just I have a device with me right now. So I'll showcase the multi-gas parameter system first and then take you guys with the AQBot. So yeah, it's better to view now. So the device which you can see on the screen is our multi-parameter monitoring station. And with this, we have a rainfall sensor here, which works on the principle of tipping bucket. And along with that, we also have a wind speed direction. So this is how the add-ons can be attached to the system. I'll just remove the station for better visibility to all of you. Yeah. Okay. So this is how our station looks like. The hardware is robust. The enclosure is IP certified with IP66 ratings. I'll just take you to each side. Let's start from the bottom. You might be able to see a multiple ports and multiple connectors here. Let me break down for you. So at left side, first we have a noise sensor. Let me just bring the screen closer for a better, yeah. So the first we have is the noise sensor for monitoring the noise levels. Beside it, we have the temperature, humidity, and the pressure sensor. With this, we have an air inlet, which takes in air at a particular frequency, along with the air outlet. Now, at the bottom, here we have a dust inlet for monitoring all the 4 concentrations of PM. And at the left-hand side of the device, we have the dust outlet. Now, at the bottom, we have multiple ports. So the first one is a power port. So where you can connect either AC or DC power, or even use solar if you have or want to connect the hardware with the solar. Then there is one C1 and C2, which is for the add-ons which I just showed, like for having attachment of wind speed direction sensor and the rainfall monitoring. With C3 and C4, they are for the industrial communication protocols, such as, let's say, Modbus to connect to your existing SCADA panel. And with this, here we have a Ethernet port, the standard Ethernet port available everywhere globally, which can connect, with the help of which you can connect the hardware to the direct wired Ethernet or internet facility. And at the right hand side, we have a SIM card facility where you can insert the SIM for. So it's simply plug and play, the one which we have used in our iPhones. You just need to insert the SIM and yeah, it's start working. With this, you have a provision of inserting the nano SIM. And on the top, we have a UV dome for monitoring the light and the UV. So let me open the enclosure. All right. So this is how a device looks from inside. At the top, we have the battery. The battery, same, having a 12 hours of battery backup. Beside it, we have the motherboard for all kind of monitoring and communication and the data transfer stuff. At the bottom first, this one is of course the noise sensor which I just showed, and the behind it it's a particulate matter or dust collector sensor which work on the principle of laser scattering. And beside it we have the Oizom gas sensor box where all the sensors and all the complete monitoring happens from taking air from the bottom and releasing it back at a particular interval. And this is the one which Jainam just showed on the patented slide technology. Yeah. So that was about the multi-gas parameter hardware, which is 100% customizable based on the requirement. So you can select either 9 gases at a given time, or along with all the 4 concentration of dust, and of course the weather parameters and meteorological parameters. Now, this compact and robust system is Igibot. So Igibot, as I just said, that it has display on the screen where you can view the real-time data. At bottom, all the communication ports are pretty much same as the master station with the sensor here. This also a PM hardware. If you have a gas, then you'll have a gas sensor here. Then of course again the temperature, humidity, pressure, and this gray kind of outside dome structure is the siren and strobe, which is responsible to make light or let's say the sounds whenever the threshold limit crosses from the set. And again the standard Ethernet cable port along with the SIM extender, or let's say the SIM insert mechanism. Yeah. So with this, we covered complete understanding of our entire hardware lineup along with the live hardware demo. And now let's understand how these devices are connected to our own Envisome software, which enables a complete doors of accessibility of data in terms of data visualization, in terms of data analytics, to have different modules and understanding of automations, or let's say the broader integrations when talking about industrial applications. So over to you, Devan.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for your patience. So I'll just start over the presentation. I'm Deval, of course, and so Envisome is a cloud-based application where you can visualize the data in comprehensive and actionable way in every 5 minutes, real-time data, where we offer all the important modules like customizable dashboard, automated reports, data analytics, environmental widgets, smart notification, and pollution heat maps. So Oizom ecosystem may look simple, but there is a complex system working behind it, which is divided into 3 parts: hardware, connectivity, and software. So first of all, AC power is used to turn on the device. And after the device is turned on, it can send directly data via two connectivities, wired connectivities and wireless connectivities, or it can be used to trigger third-party equipments via relay or Modbus. And in wireless connectivity, offer LoRa, Sigfox, Ethernet, and in wireless connectivities, we offer GSM and Wi-Fi. And after the data is reflected to our cloud software, it can directly be visualized via our cloud software, where all the important modules are offered, which I'll later explain you. Or it can be used via ICCC's command and control center, or it can be seen on outdoor displays, or it can be also accessed by remote user via mobile app. So Oizom AQM technologies allow the integration of data in a number of ways, along with the data from third-party CAQMS and third-party CEMS. And after the data is reflected in our Envisome platform, it can be visualized by ICCCs, and also it can be used to trigger control equipments like the separation canyons or systems, or there is also mobile app for remote user access. So if the end user doesn't want to use a terminal, Oizom provides API with customers application integration, and that can be also used by TV interfaces, or you can visualize the data in outdoor LEDs, also trigger web widgets, smart notification, print ready reports, or also there is a mobile app for data on the go. So when we talk about software, there is always a one question that comes into mind is data privacy, ownership, and transparency, right? So Envisome receives the data from the highly secured network, and the data shared between the client uses an encryption server through HTTPs. And when we talk about data ownership, users can access the data from the equipment using a user-based authentication where we provide a unique login to the user. And data transparency, the data collected runs through the EDIE, which is called as Environmental Data Interpretation Engine, to process the various algorithms. So I'll just move further with the Envisome Louds or Envisome online software. So first you need to type in the URL data.oizom.com, and as you can see on the left side panel, you can see all the important modules. So the first one will go through is overview. So as the name indicates, overview will give you the overview of data at various installed locations. So it will give you bird's eye view of Oizom devices. As you can see on the pins on the map, shows you where the devices are installed, and the devices are geo mapped with devices location for a better look. As you click on the pin, you can see the device name, whether it is online or offline, the ID of the device, and the location of the device. And in the tabular format, you can see the data in a tabular format for the selected device from the selected drop down over here, where you can see the status of the device, the real-time data updated over here, this or the like whether the device is online or offline, green or red. Also, here you can see the color coded data, right? Which I'll explain you later in the user module. As per the AQI, it is color coded. Here you can also refresh the data. And in the index, you can see 24-hour of data average for each devices. So the second module is dashboard, where you can see the data in very actionable way in a like widgets, smart widgets and smart charts. Just a minute. First, you need to select the device from the drop down. Here you can see the real-time data chart. Here you can see the location of the device. Here you can see the live data for each parameters. And here you can also select the chart format as per your convenience. And here you can also download this as JPG, PNG, or as per your convenience. Here you can see the AQI for last 24 hours for each parameters. Here you can also download this. Here you can see the Windows chart of the device, where you can see which direction the wind is coming from and which direction it is directing to. So it is easy to relate the data over here. Same for the pollution rose chart. Here you can see which direction the pollutants are coming from and which direction it is directing to. And here you can see the AQI trend chart for the last week, for each parameters. It is also color coded as per the AQI we have set in the user module. And in the tabular format, you can see the data in as per your convenience time interval. So first you need to select the device from the drop down. You have to select the start date and end date of the device, the time interval, where we offer various time intervals: 1 hour average, 8 hour average, 8 hour moving average, 24-hour average, and 24-hour moving average. Here you can see the category of the device, AQI, and the live parameters. And it is even color coded. And here you can also download it for report generation. And here you can refresh the data. So cluster module is basically used for, so when we notice that the average baseline pollution is higher in industrial zones rather than the residential zones, that's why we have introduced cluster module, where you can see the combined data for combined devices, where you can group the devices data to get the average environmental data. So here Just a minute. So for to add a new cluster, you need to go to this plus icon. Here you can select the device type. So you can select the device from here. So when you add the devices to the cluster, you can see the average data for these 4 devices as grouped. Here you have to name the cluster, select the index, and submit. So when you select the cluster, you can see the data for the cluster here. So in the map view, I think, yes, it is now visible. Just a minute. So here you can see the average combined data for the combined devices that I have just configured. And here you can see the AQI color coded. Another data, you can see the average data for the cluster where you can select the start date and end date and also the time interval. And you can even download the cluster. So for to manage the time and for not to do manual comparison in Excel, we have introduced a reports module where you can download print ready reports on your email or on your phone. So like this. So for you need to select the device. So for example, if I select Polygon Flower Market, and if you select on the enter email ID over here, you will get an email on your you'll get an email on your mail ID for every day for this device's data. And you can even download the quick report by clicking over here. Here to select the report type, daily, weekly, or monthly. Here to select the time interval, and you can generate a report over here. So many times we have seen that clients do manual comparison by making manual charts in Excel or using Google Sheets. So we have introduced analytics module where you can create parameters comparison, device comparison, and pollution rules comparisons. So we have created a few analytics. So this is a NO2 NO and O3 comparison where you can see the NO shows blue color, the dark green shows NO2 and the light green shows O3, right? So here you can select even the time interval. So this is really important for such research use cases or smart city use cases where you can also select the time interval. Here you can see the chart format as per your convenience and you can even download it. So this is how you can create analytics as per your convenience. So keeping a watch on data is really not possible every time. So we have introduced alerts module where you can get an alert on your mobile, uh, SMS or mobile your email every threshold that you have set for the particular device. So for that you need to configure an alert in this where you have to select the device and the select device drop down. Here to name the configuration. For example, I have set the dust pollution configuration, right? Just a minute. So what you can do is, so if you need to get a SMS on your phone every 1 hour that the PM10 value hits over, for an example, 70, right? So you can get an SMS on your phone that this is the level is crossed, and here you can just add it. And in the settings, you can enable or disable the alert. So for such real estate and smart city projects, we have introduced a display module where you can see the display in very comprehensive and actionable way. So we have created a display. So I'll show you what it will look like. And you can also you can also get and display by creating a embedded link where you can copy the iframe code. So here you can see the AQI comparison that we have done for two devices. Here you can see the AQI for hourly average. So this is really important for such smart city and urban applications. So API integration is basically for third-party seamless communication, where if that I've explained earlier that if the end user doesn't want to use the terminal, right? So Oizom can give APIs for the same, and APIs can be accessed by download Postman collection, Swagger collection, or by trying it on the cloud. And Oizom REST APIs, HTTP and MQTT protocols are followed here. So automation is a relay-based functionality where you can automate a device based on the threshold value set for the set by the user. So we have created a few automation. So for Dustroid, we have created output like if the PM10 value goes over 250, then the dust separation system or dust separation cannon that we have automated will be turned on. And if it is goes beyond 150, then it will be turned off. So this is really important for such construction applications. So complaint module is basically for such smart city and smart campus applications where you can relate the environmental data in just one single platform, which Ash also explained earlier. So here you can see the complaint in 3 color codes: pending, in progress, and resolved. And as you have seen also on the overview module over here, what you can see over here is complaint pins, right? So what you can do over here is you can relate the environmental data with the complaint generated over here. So you can easily relate the environmental data to the complaint. So Oizom has complaint collecting APIs for it. And here you can resolve the complaint as well. So the project module is basically to maintain the projects in a very comprehensive way. So what you can do is you can maintain the project by giving the project ID, project name. So it is really for such a partner first approach company that we are. So what you can do is, so basically you can create a project, you can give the project ID, project name, the address. You can give the master admin user to the one particular end user, and you can give the devices access and the modules access to them. So in the devices module, you can see all the devices related information in one single platform. Here you can see all the devices related information. Here you can also add the longitude and latitude or device location, city and country. And here you can also get the street view of the device installed. And if you need to upload an image, you can also upload an image over here. In the user module, all the user related information is given, AQI related information units and modules related information is given. So if you need to upload an web app logo over here, you can also upload the logo and the logo will be appeared over here. Here you can see all your users list. And you can add the new user by clicking on the bottom of the screen. And in the index, you can see the index for just a minute. Just a minute. Huh? So in the index, you can see the AQI that we have set in the overview and dashboard module, which I have just shown you in the tabular format. So this is the index that we have applied to it. And if your country falls another falls another AQI chart, then we can also apply it over here. In the units, all the units related information is given. You can also configure as per your convenience over here. And in the modules, all the modules expiry date and the modules availability is shown over here. So it will be easy for you to access it. And on the top left corner, you can see the current plan of your software. So I request you to speak to your respective account managers for it. So I'll just explain you the top right corner icons you can see, right? So the first one is language. So we have these languages option for our software. Here you have the download terminal guide. So if you are new to the software, so I suggest you to download the terminal guide so you can easily access it. Here all the notification will be visualized. Here you can download a quick report by clicking on the device. You can select the time interval, click the start date and end date, and you can just click the download pin over here. From here, you can sign out the device. And one more important thing that we have just introduced last year is this powerful live chatbot on the down right corner. So if you are new to a system or new to a software, what you can do is you can just shoot a question over here and one of our executive will get in touch with you via email or via chat box. And here you can see that a few FAQs are listed. So you can go through it if you are new to the software. So I hope that you are all able to understand the software part. And if you have any questions, you can let me know later. So now I'll hand it over to Janam, who will explain you the calibration capabilities.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us and being patient throughout the presentation. I hope Deval was able to share more on how the Envisome platform works and give you a comprehensive idea. So, yeah. So what we're going to now talk about next before in the next 20 minutes is going to be just a second. Can you hear me now? I don't know if you can hear me, guys, loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear.
Oh, perfect. Yes. So as I was saying, now we'll focus on the most crucial part, which is data accuracy and calibration. Because at the end of the day, if it is a measurement equipment, it has to be very accurate. And if you don't have accuracy, then might as well not have a system. So the next session is going to be focused more on calibration, after which we'll take another 5-10 minutes for your question and answers. Meanwhile, for the Envisome platform, in case you would want to explore the software yourself, do trials and tests, please reach out to your account managers. They can help you with a demo login for you to understand how the software works and move around with the software. Similarly, for our partners, in case you have any queries regarding the hardware, of course, we'll be able to resolve them here. But at any given point of time, if you have any other questions, if you need more information, more guidance, your account managers are always at disposal to help you out and maybe even help you one of the demo units as well. We'll take it forward from here. Just a second, I'll share my screen with the calibration presentation and we'll take it from there on. I'll just share my screen once again and let me know once you can see it. That should be it. Perfect. Now, for any measurement equipment, including a weighing scale, it has to be calibrated regularly, and calibration is very crucial. Every system that is dispatched out of the Oizom facility goes through an extensive 3 levels of calibration. The first one is a factory level calibration, where all the sensors are bump tested to ensure that no kind of anomalies are there in the sensors and the sensors are working perfectly fine. Once that process is completed, The sensors are sent to are assembled and shipped to an NABL certified ISO IEC 17025 certified laboratory, where we do multi-span calibration as per the US EPA guidelines, where known concentration of gases is passed through the stations, and any kind of cross sensitivity is eliminated here. Any kind of compensation correction algorithms that are there are eliminated here. The second part is the co-location calibration. So once a system is calibrated and ideal for lab conditions, we also install it with a reference analyzer, which is still considered a gold standard in most of the countries globally, where we co-locate at least 1,000 data points over a period of 96 hours and try to attain more accurate data. Now, I know the most pressing question that you guys have in your mind is, Janam, but the air quality and the temperature humidity levels of India are very different compared to what we have in our countries. And that is the exact reason why this co-location calibration process is actually done at multiple places, including places with extremely high temperatures and high humidity, places with low temperatures, low humidity, and vice versa. And extensive amount of data sets are generated, which are then translated into machine learning algorithms that can be deployed into the systems. In case the customer needs to do periodic calibration, our systems, whenever there are seasonal changes, has an automated AI-based compensation correction algorithms applied for over-the-air calibration. The only requirement that we have for that is the systems have to be online. So in case you are pitching to a customer, please ensure that even if they do not want the systems connected to the internet, it is not a problem. However, maybe once a quarter or once in 6 months, we should try to get the systems online so that we can do over the air calibration. Similarly, at the end of 1 year, there are a lot of governments and authorities who would want you to perform spot calibration. Now, Oizom's team has been always with a mission to create autonomy where our partners can do calibration on site. And once a system is dispatched out of the Ahmedabad facility, it does not come back. So therefore, for spot calibration, usually in 99% of our cases, remote calibration and zero air gas calibration solves the problem because our sensor error drift is less than 1% annually. Therefore, a zero air gas calibration is usually sufficient. However, in critical applications, should you require to do a span calibration, that can also be done on site. Oizom offers a calibration training as well as a calibration kit for you to conduct the calibration on site. What you saw on Envisom right now was the version that the users will be able to see. But your own version as an admin, you will also have the option of calibration module as well, which can be activated when you're calibrating a specific unit. Now, our lab calibration is in partnership with Atira. I'm sure our friends from India already know how well reputed Atira is, but for our global partners, Atira is one of the oldest research organizations in the country where the Oizom's calibration facility is hosted. Atira, to give you a reference of how well reputed it was founded by the late Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, who is also the founding father of the Indian Space Research Organization. And I am sure after going to the South Pole of the moon, the Indian Space Research Organization does not need any more accolades or, on how well and how reputed they are and the work that they do. So this is where our calibration facility is hosted. And should any of you be ever in India or in Ahmedabad, we will be happy to host you and take you around and show you the calibration facility as well. It's one of its kind. We've had, again, because I reckon we have partners from India, we've had various CPCBs and state pollution control was in fact visit to have a look at how we've set up our calibration facility. This is a glimpse of how the co-location calibration looks like. So this is the analyzer-based instrumentation that we spoke about during the evaluation of air quality monitors. This is how a cabin would look like. This would cost you anywhere between $100,000 to anywhere to $500,000. We've partnered with Horiba, the Japanese make for air quality monitoring stations, and we use their stations as a part of research for setting up this co-location. And the systems are installed with even keeping the slightest of changes in mind. For example, as per the US EPA guidebook, the sensor inlet, the air inlet for the sensor-based systems and the analyzers have to be not more than a meter apart. So we've also taken care of that consideration to ensure that this is done properly. This is how the, because we use active sampling, right? We can do on-field calibration using portable gas cylinders, which are SI traceable gases with standard certifications. We will, of course, offer the calibration software and the calibration hood and kit to our partners so that they can do the calibration on site themselves. And of course, during this entire process, your project managers will be there with you, helping you throughout the process. An environmental person would also be there with you, helping you in order if there are any kind of troubleshooting or any kind of support that you would require. This is a co-location report that we did with Horiba in the city of Cologne in Germany. This is another report from AQMD. AQMD is a sister parent of the US EPA, which focuses on conducting research and studies and evaluation studies for sensor-based systems. This was done with the Oizom's Dustroid Pro, and you can see our correlation has been extremely high of 0.91 on an average for PM 2.5 and PM5 and PM10. We've had very good correlations. These are the factors. You can find this information online as well. If you just Google AQMD Dustroid, you will find this report as well to download. And in case you need it, it's already there with you on your partner portal. If you go to support documents, you will find this study as well. Similarly, this one is the one that was done in Mumbai. Mumbai is a city here in India, which has extremely high temperatures and high levels of humidity because it is at the coast. It is right next to the Arabian Sea. And here you can see our co-location reports have been very good. For example, for carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone levels, we've had very good correlations with standard reference analyzers. Here, I think the reference stations was a Teledyne and an Ecotech station. Similarly, this was a study that was done back in 2016 with the University of Wuppertal. And the reason why we have put this here is to show you the difference of how much we've improved since then to here. This was done in the municipality of Lima in South America, and the results have been continuously improving. So we continuously conduct such studies to improve and verify our data and get more and more better data as we grow further. Talking about operations and maintenance, this is another critical part because we're not selling iPhones. So of course there is operations and maintenance. And someone told me this very well, that Jainam, it doesn't matter. You could build a Rolls-Royce and you would still need to do operation and maintenance. So if you're keen on getting the Rolls-Royce for air quality, of course, one of the most important things is that because we do active sampling, the sensors don't choke up, but we have to make sure that we at least clean the inlet and the outlet mesh of the sensing systems at regular intervals. This is done specifically so that there is enough inflow and outflow of the air inside the systems. For those who would opt for a solar radiation monitoring as well, it is critical that you clean the light dome as well, especially not for the dust levels majorly, but especially the bigger challenge here would probably be bird poop. So it's recommended at least once a quarter or once in 6 months, you clean the domes. Sensor replacements. So there are two things here. The standard lifespan for dust sensor is 12 months in normal conditions, whereas 24 months for gases. This varies, of course, based on pollution concentration. I could not say that the lifespan of my dust sensor is same in the desert of Saudi Arabia and in the pristine fields of Scotland. It's extremely different. But on an average, the dust sensors have a lifespan of 12 to 15 months, whereas gas sensors have a lifespan of 24 months. However, in between, if there is any kind of challenges due to which the sensor becomes unstable or starts giving false data, we have inbuilt sensor anomaly detection, and the project team will reach out to you saying that, okay, this sensor is acting a bit funny. Did something actually happen there during this specific period, or do you think it's a good idea to replace the sensor? Similarly, spot calibration can be done. So in case you would not want to, would want to do a spot calibration, again, here there are two options. You can calibrate the system using, of course, gas cylinders, as we spoke about, zero as gas calibration. But for spot calibration, what we can also do is install a station next to a reference analyzer and correlate the data and update the necessary compensation correction algorithms. or we could get a freshly calibrated Oizom unit, deploy it next to the existing stations, and one would act as a master, the other as a slave, and the necessary compensation correction algorithms can be applied there as well. In 97% of the cases, all the challenges and problems can be resolved remotely in the Oizom ecosystem, because if they're connected to the internet, that is, of course. However, there are certain things that would require, diagnosis and debugging. So what we tell our partners, and we recommend our partners to tell our customers, is that if you give the system stable power and network, the system requires negligible maintenance because everything can be done remotely. However, there shall be certain times when, at the end of the day, it's a machine. And what do you do when a machine stops working? You turn it off and turn it on again. So sometimes you would need to do that. But in most of the cases, we have developed a system that can remotely be diagnosed, troubleshot, and debugging can be done remotely. With that being said, I just want to mention that sky is the limit. We are just getting started to a very wonderful journey as our partnership enhances. We are very delighted to have you join as our partners, and I'm sure together all of us will do great things together. We have a series of activities that we do along with the sales training, which you'll be hearing from your account managers as well as through regular emails from Oizom. Just the way we have done the sales training, we also do trainings for marketing, where we have marketing webinars at regular intervals. We do calibration trainings for the environmental teams on how to calibrate the systems. We have hardware onboarding training. So once you have a unit in your hand, you actually get a hardware onboarding training, which will help you guide you through the entire process, from how to install, what is the optimal height, what does every light signify. And all of this information, of course, is also available on your partner portal, as well as through various videos, manuals that are out there. And irrespective of all of that, should you have any queries, we have teams that work across different time zones. So please feel free to reach out to us in the case of any questions. And now I would like to set the floor open for any questions, feedbacks, comments, and suggestions. Thank you everyone for staying with us for the last couple of hours. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Jainam, for the nice presentation. From the sales point of, you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please continue.
Yeah. From the sales point of view, I have two questions. Okay. Do you provide rental services for those units?
So we do not provide rental units. We usually sell to our partners, but a lot of our partners actually offer the systems further on leasing and rental and lease to buy models as well.
Okay. Second thing, is there any possibility to vehicle mount this equipment, like a vehicle mounted? We can mount on the vehicle.
So for that, that becomes a part of portable monitoring. Now, these systems, they're stationary monitors, and they require anywhere between 12 to 24 hours for stabilization before they start giving you accurate data. And that is why we usually recommend to our partners that once you've installed a unit, for the first 24 hours, please ignore the data. However, for portable air quality monitoring, we are coming up with something very exciting, and you should be receiving an email from me very soon. We're just in the final place of that. So hopefully you should hear from me very soon about the portable monitoring systems.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question from Nicholas here in the chat. Hi, Nicholas. Good to see you. I'm sure it's pretty late for you out there, but do you need to calibrate the dust sensors to account for different density dust particles? Nicholas, dust calibration is very complicated. So if there is a facility around you that can do dust calibration, that's amazing. But usually it's a very expensive process, and the cost is very high. So in most of our cases, people would rather replace the dust sensor than actually send it for calibration. In most of the countries, I'm unsure about the pricing and how dust calibration works in Australia, but in most of the cases, because you need a wind tunnel, and then you need to import Arizona dust and all of that, so that makes it a very expensive process. So usually in most of the cases, people would rather get a freshly calibrated dust sensor annually than trying to recalibrate the dust sensors. Because even after the calibration of a dust sensor, because it's a laser beam, you are not sure if it's going to solve your problem or not, or would you require one. So it's usually recommended to replace the dust sensors at annual 12 to 15 months on an average. Do we have any other questions, team? Perfect. So if there are no questions, we can wrap this session up 10 minutes earlier. Thank you so much, everyone, once again for sticking out with us. Should you have any queries, please do not, do not hesitate to reach out to us. And in case of anything else, I'll also drop my email ID in the chat box. You can reach out to me directly or your account managers, of course, who are in constant touch with you. Meanwhile, after this session, we will be sharing the recording of this with you shortly once the post-edit process is completed. We'll be sharing the presentation recording with you. And also the copy of this presentation, I think, should be available on your partner portal. And meanwhile, if there are any other things that you would need from our side, please let us know. We are here to work together and make the world actually a better place. Thank you so much once again, everyone. And before I call it a day, I just noticed we have people from more than 10 countries, and it would be really wrong, if we didn't take a picture together. So can I just request everyone to maybe turn on their cameras and we can take a quick snapshot of everyone. We have 10 countries, different time zones, Australia to Edward from Ireland, to our friends from Myanmar, to our friend Hakim from Algeria. I think we have people from everywhere. So let's take a picture, all of us together. Can I request all of you to turn on your videos, please? Thank you so much.
Come. You're taking this? No, can
Perfect. 1, 2, 3, cheese. The new way of taking photos. Yeah, screenshots now. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, once again. It's
Thank
been a
you. Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sophia?